So, when you picture a cyber attack, what pops into your head? Probably something you've seen in the movies, right? Giant corporations, super sophisticated hackers in dark rooms. It's all very dramatic. But what if I told you the biggest targets aren't always the biggest companies? Let's talk about why your small business might actually be a much bigger target than you think.
And let's just get right to it. This is probably the #1 thought a lot of small business owners have. You might be thinking, why would anyone want to hack my little shop? I don't have anything that valuable. Well, if that sounds familiar, you're going to want to stick around, because the reality of who gets targeted is probably not what you expect.
And this really lays out the whole disconnect perfectly. On one hand, you have the perception. It's all about these Hollywood-style hackers launching these complex attacks against massive corporations. But the reality? Well, it's usually just about simple mistakes. It's about everyday businesses, and it's about common, easy-to-fix gaps. You know, it's less about a criminal mastermind and way more about an unlocked digital door.
All right, Section 1. Let's really dig into this myth, because it's an idea that so many small business owners believe. And honestly, it's a really dangerous assumption that can leave you wide open.
I mean, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's a comforting thought, right? The idea that you can just fly under the radar while all the bad guys are focused on the big fish. But that feeling of comfort, that's exactly what attackers are counting on.
So let's flip the script. What's the reality here? It's time to take that myth apart and look at why your business is, believe it or not, a very attractive and often incredibly easy target.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple truth. Cybercriminals are opportunistic. It's not always about getting the single biggest prize. It's often about finding the path of least resistance. They're just rattling digital doorknobs, looking for one that's unlocked.
So here's the key idea you need to get. Your business becomes attractive not because of its size or its revenue, but because it's less protected. Think about it. A small shop with weak passwords and zero employee training is a much, much easier payday than a huge corporation with a whole team of security experts. Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the road. What do these gaps and unlocked doors actually look like in a small business? Let's get into the kinds of everyday habits that accidentally create massive risks.
Now, I want you to take a really honest look at this list. Does any of this sound familiar? That shared Excel sheet with every single customer's contact info. That one Google Drive folder that pretty much everyone in the company can get into. These aren't some kind of sophisticated technical vulnerabilities. They are super common business practices that basically double as a welcome mat for trouble. And this is so important to understand. We have to expand our idea of what a privacy incident even is. It's not always a hacker in a hoodie breaking through your firewall. Sometimes, it's just an employee who accidentally sends an email with sensitive info to the wrong person. Or maybe it's a company laptop that gets lost or stolen. It's the small mistakes that can have huge consequences. And speaking of consequences, we need to talk about the cost. Because when something goes wrong, it goes way beyond just the technical problem. The real cost of a privacy breach is losing something far more valuable than data. This right here, this is the heart of it. You can eventually recover data, you can pay a fine, but how do you get back the trust of a customer who feels like you were careless with their most personal information? That's a whole different ballgame. No, really, just pause and think about that for a second. If your entire client list and their private details were leaked online tomorrow, all because of a password like 123456, would those clients stick with you? Probably not. And for a small business, that's a cost you just can't afford to pay. Okay, I know that all sounds a little scary, and the risk is very real. But here's the good news. You are not powerless here. The solutions don't require a huge budget or a team of cybersecurity experts. Let's look at some simple, practical fixes that make a huge difference. So think of this as your starting checklist. And what's great is that none of this is rocket science, right? Using stronger passwords, training your team to spot those fake phishing emails, just taking a moment to review who has access to what. These are all low-cost, high-impact changes you can literally start making today.
Which brings us to our final and honestly our most important takeaway. We have to completely reframe how we think about this stuff. Privacy and security isn't some separate technical chore you have to do.
It is a core business issue, just like marketing or sales or customer service. Protecting your customers' data is a fundamental part of how you operate.
It's a trust issue. It's the absolute foundation of the relationship you have with your customers. They're giving you their information with the unspoken promise that you are going to protect it.
And that means, ultimately, it's a survival issue. In today's world, one single major breach can completely destroy the trust you spent years building. And for a small business,
that can put you out of business for good.
So I'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. Right now, in your business, is your approach to privacy a liability, kind of like a ticking time bomb just waiting to go off? Or is it an asset, something that builds trust and actually protects the future of everything you've worked so hard for? The choice really is yours.